Girl is about to live a nightmare. Let's watch that one.
Today's story has two significant plot twists, and one of them comes at the very end. So make sure you stick around to hear the entire
This is why
story.
Mr.
But
Ballen,
before we get into
this
that
girl's
story,
about to live
if
a
you're a
nightmare.
fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once or twice every week.
Oops.
So if that's of interest to you, please offer to detail the like button's car, but as soon as they give you their keys, just fill their car up with an angry pack of Asian murder hornets. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications.
He had to laugh
so you
doing
don't
this
miss
one. He
any
had to.
weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story.
Oh wait. Whoa, whoa. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I got to turn my hat around. It's almost like I never watched a Mr. Ballen video before. There we go.
Right in the middle of the United States is a quiet little town called Millstadt, Illinois. Millstadt is home to about 4,000 people, and had it not been for Ashley Reeves, only those 4,000 people and their friends and family would even know that Millstadt existed. In 2006, Ashley Reeves was a 17-year-old high school student who lived with her parents and her younger sister Casey in Millstadt. Ashley was an excellent student who, even though she was over a year from her high school graduation, she was already thinking about what colleges she wanted to go to. She was also extremely likable and outgoing, and she had this huge, infectious smile. And so she had tons of friends, and she had a very serious boyfriend who her parents adored.
W.
His name was Jeremy, and he was a high school student as well.
W.
On the
Jeremy.
morning of Thursday, April 27th of that year, Ashley got up, and like every other morning, she got ready for school alongside her sister Casey. And then right before Ashley stepped out to head off to school, she told her parents that after school, she had a job interview.
Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. You guys see this? You guys see? Wait, where is it? Where's it on the screen? Right here? You see that? Flash is getting his PC sometimes this week or next week. Okay. I know some of you guys are probably like, okay. Imagine getting this man on these games. Hardcore Minecraft, he can be in there. Phasmophobia, he can be there. Enter the Gungeon, he can be there. W. Let me know what part you get. Let me know what part you get. You gotta do that right now, but like whenever. Like whenever you get it. At some point.
On the other side of town, and then after her interview, her plan was to play basketball with some friends, and then she'd be home. And so her parents said, okay, well, hey, good luck with your job interview, and just make sure you're home before 10:30 p.m. And so Ashley said, no problem.
10:30 p.m. is crazy. That's actually crazy. Now, when I was younger, I never really had I didn't really have a curfew. My thing was just like be home before street lights, which was basically like 7, and like when it get winter time, like 5. But like 10, nah. Like I would, if I was a kid still, I would have been home hours ago, like hours. Like that's crazy.
I'll see you tonight, and then she left. That afternoon, after school, Ashley made her way to Jeremy's locker, and when she got to him, Jeremy handed her his keys to his car. He had an SUV, and he was lending it to her for the day so she could go to the interview and then go play basketball. And so Ashley took the keys, she thanked him, she gave him a hug, and then she...
Let me ask you guys something. If y'all dating a girl in high school, are y'all giving her your car, even for a day? Are you guys giving her your car? Because I'm not gonna lie, if I'm in high school, right? Okay, it's different now. But like, if I'm in high school, I don't know. That's a gamble. You know what I mean? That's I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing all that. Like now, yeah, sure. Depending on how long we've been dating. Like it can't be like a month. We gotta be dating for like almost a year.
She turned and she walked down the hallway where she met up with her sister Casey at her locker, and then the two girls left the school. They went out to the student parking lot. They found Jeremy's SUV, they hopped inside, and then Ashley began driving them back to their house. When they got there, Casey hopped out of the car, she said bye to Ashley, and then Ashley left their house and she began driving to Fairview Heights, which was a town about 15 miles away where her interview was going to be. Several hours later, around 10 p.m., Ashley's parents had not heard from their daughter, and it was getting close to her curfew, and so they asked Casey if she had spoken with Ashley, and, did she know how her interview went? Did she know when she was going to be home? But Casey would tell them, actually, no, I haven't talked to Ashley since she dropped me off from school. And so Ashley's parents said, okay, no big deal. And they called Ashley, but Ashley didn't pick up. So they sent her a series of text messages. But after a couple of minutes of not getting any response, they decided to just call her boyfriend, Jeremy, to see if maybe he knew what was going on with Ashley. But when they spoke to Jeremy, he would say that, I haven't spoken with Ashley since I gave her the keys to my SUV. And I've actually been trying to talk to her all day. I've been calling her and texting her, but I still haven't heard back. And so at this point, Ashley's parents were starting to get really worried. And so after hanging up with Jeremy, they began calling other friends of Ashley's to see if maybe they had spoken to her and knew what was going on. But all of her friends that they spoke to all had the same story. We haven't talked to her since the end of school, and she's not returning our calls or texts. And so Ashley's mother, she just sensed that something was terribly wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
and so without any hesitation, she just called the police. Now, the police in this town were used to getting calls every now and again from parents whose teenage child had run off and they were concerned about them. But virtually every time the police investigated, they would find the teenager had just kind of been blowing off their friends and family, and they would pop up maybe a couple hours later totally unharmed. But the Millstadt police would later remark when they heard Ashley's mother's voice over the phone, the fear in her voice was so pronounced, it immediately pushed the police department to take this case very seriously. And so that night, right after this phone call, the Millstadt Police Department went out in force to try to locate Jeremy's SUV, the car that Ashley had been driving around that day. And the first place they went to look for this car was Latterman Park, which is this very popular public park that has a really popular basketball.
Okay, I feel like this is obvious, but what do you guys think happened to her? Because I think she got I feel like she got kidnapped. I feel like she got kidnapped in some way, shape, or form. Like, you're in the SUV. How are you getting kidnapped? You're the kidnapper. You know what I mean? You're the one that's supposed to do the kidnapping. That's a bad joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever happens to this girl ahead of time. But, what's going to happen?
Basketball court that lots of teenagers would go to all the time, and Ashley was known to frequent that park. And this park was located about halfway between Fairview Heights, where her interview was, and Millstadt, where she lived. And so they go to Latterman Park, and right away, sitting in the parking lot, they find Jeremy's SUV. But
Okay.
Ashley is not in the car. She's nowhere near the car. And when they searched the car, there was nothing of significance inside of it. There was just some of Ashley's clothes lying around. The police would spend all night and well into the morning combing Latterman Park looking for any sign of Ashley, but there wasn't one. And so as the sun came up and the police were nowhere closer to finding this girl, they began to suspect that, perhaps foul play was involved. And so the first person they hauled in for questioning was Ashley's boyfriend, Jeremy. But as soon as he sat in the interrogation room, he demonstrated a real concern for Ashley. He had a rock-solid alibi, and he basically was an open book. And so they quickly ruled him out as a suspect. And then the police basically began hauling in all of Ashley's friends and acquaintances and family members, basically anybody that knew her. They were...
Okay. Flash. You're actually, like, a friend I know in person, like, in real life, like, in where I live. So, like, let's put this in perspective. Let's say you go missing, right? You go missing, and then the police knock on my door, and they're like, yo, such and such went missing. You gotta come to, we suspect you. You have to come down for an interrogation. It's like, I might be like, you got me, I might just be like, you got me, and like, nah, I'm just kidding. But like, seriously, where's he at? What's going on? Where's Gangy at? I don't know. I never understood the whole interrogation, because like I know like they're smart enough to like deduce if you did it or not, But I feel like if I was concerned, like if I had nothing to do with it, I'll be like legitimately concerned. If I know I did it, I'll still be legitimately concerned. Like I'll pretend to be legitimately concerned. So I wonder what that looks like.
Bringing them into the station to find out if they knew anything that could help them figure out where Ashley was. And more specifically, the police were really looking to see if any of these people were hiding something. And sure enough, a few of the friends that were brought in were. According to a few of Ashley's closest friends, Ashley was in not one, but two romantic relationships. One was the
She's a thought. She's a treesh. And she had this man letting her borrow his vehicular automobile. No. No. You can't be doing that, bro. This may sound bad, but like depending on what's going on, she just get kidnapped. Like nothing really bad. Like just kidnapped. I ain't feeling that bad.
the public relationship she had with Jeremy,
I ain't gonna lie.
and the other was a secret relationship that was actually illegal. In order to hide this forbidden second relationship, Ashley would tell her family and her friends that she was going to the park to play basketball, when in reality,
I was about no joke, no joke. I was actually about to say that's crazy that she played basketball. I wasn't expecting her to be like a basketball type of person because I just legitimately didn't think she was like a basketball. Like I don't really see that many people like I'm gonna go play basketball. You know what I mean? And I was like that's crazy. And I didn't say that because I was like nah, people play basketball. NBA exists, WNBA exists, and like it just felt weird. It just felt weird. But now he says it. That's crazy. You really can't, all girls are the same. No, I'm just kidding.
she was
Where
going to
am
the
I?
park to meet up with this secret second partner. And the day before, when Ashley went missing, her friends told police that that was the exact reason she was going to Latterman Park. The police got the name of this secret person from Ashley's friends. His name was Sam Shelton, and the police tracked him down. When they found him, he was at a baseball practice, but the police didn't care. They marched right onto the baseball diamond and they grabbed Sam and they brought him back to the police station. And then when he got there, they sat him down in the interrogation room.
man.
He's still wearing his baseball uniform, and they ask him about his relationship with Ashley. And he immediately denies it and says he does not have a relationship with Ashley. He's got no idea why he's here. But pretty quickly, after a few questions, Sam's answers became inconsistent. And so the police just ratcheted up the pressure on him. And then finally, after 12 hours of questioning, the interrogator brings up Sam's mother and his grandmother. And he says to Sam, how would they feel if they knew you were lying to the police right now? And this just broke Sam. And so he cracked. Now, at this point, the police were already expecting the worst when it came to Ashley, but they were not ready for just how brutal Sam's confession would be.
I'm just saying now, trigger warning. Trigger warning. I don't know what they about to say. I don't know what about to happen, but trigger warning, because that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't even want to go into it. That just sounds crazy.
About what exactly he did to her. The following is an account based on his confession. 30 hours earlier, Ashley wrapped up her interview in Fairview Heights, and she made her way to
Treesh. That's what I'm saying, bro. You can't just be letting no one borrow your car because, like, she out here have him looking stupid. She was out here meeting another man in his car.
to Latterman Park to meet up with Sam. And now it's not clear exactly how they met up, but eventually the two of them did connect and they made their way over to Sam's car where they became intimate. Afterwards, the two are sitting in the front two seats of Sam's car. Sam is in the driver's seat and Ashley is in the passenger seat. And while they're sitting there, something happens that causes this huge fight between the two of them. And at some point, Sam tells Ashley to get out of the car. But Ashley refuses. She wants to talk to him. She wants to deal with their issues. But Sam's not.
What? How can you be a cheater and then want to solve fix the relationship with the side dude? What? What? You need to fix the problem with the main dude. What the hell? You worry about the side quest, you gotta worry about the main quest.
not having it. And so he gets so mad at her that he lunges across the center console of the car and he puts Ashley into a vicious chokehold.
God damn.
Now, he tells police his plan was to kind of yank her out of the car, but he squeezed so hard around her neck that he heard this loud popping sound coming from her neck. It was the sound of her neck breaking. And so as soon as he heard it, Sam let go, and Ashley kind of crumpled forward and hit the front dashboard of the car. And so Sam is staring at her, wondering what he should do. He's kind of looking around, making sure no one saw what he just did. And then he reached over and lifted her back up to see if she was still alive, and he saw she was. But instead of trying to get her help, he decides right then and there he's going to kill her. And so he reaches over and he begins choking her. But after several minutes of throttling her, she just wouldn't die. And so Sam pulled his belt off of his waist and he wrapped it around Ashley's neck. And then he began pulling. But he would tell police he couldn't stand looking at Ashley's face while he did this. He said she was staring right at him, her tongue was coming out of her mouth, she was frothing, and her face was turning this ghastly shade of gray-blue. And so at some point, when she still hadn't died, he released the belt from around her neck, and he turned her body so she was facing the window away from him, and then he repositioned the belt on her neck, and then he put his foot on her back to use as leverage, and then he pulled.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This man's actually crazy. He deserves a death penalty. Death penalty. Only option. That's crazy, bro. Like, okay. It's okay. First off, the fact that he was putting that much strength to a chokehold, that's insane by itself. The fact that he didn't get her help is crazy. The fact that he tried to choke her out with his bare hands, and then when that failed, he still was like, I'm still in that type of time in it, and I'm going to take off my belt. Take off his belt while sitting down. You know how difficult that is? You have to put in extreme amount of concentration to take off your belt while sitting down, just to wrap it around someone's neck. And then you let go before she dies, just to put her around and reposition the belt to put your leg on her back. What? Oh my god.
Pulled as hard as you possibly could on her throat for quite a while until the belt actually broke around her neck. And then at that point, he checked to make sure she was dead, and when she was, he stuffed her down into the floorboards in front of the passenger seat, and then he drove several miles across.
Okay. To be fair, before whatever I say, to be fair, she did just get her neck popped. I don't know what that did to her lower body. I don't know what that did to, like, her in general, but that would freak me out, too, okay? But let's say, like, he didn't do that part. What I would have done in this situation, right? Bam. Let's say he put me in a headlock. Let's say, like, you know, then he tried to strangle me, right? Let's say then I was buying a strangle. I would just pretend to be like, I got choked out, you know what I mean? I'd be like, I would do all the signs like I'm about to be done way ahead of schedule. So, like, when, like, they start, I'll be like, you know? But little they know I got big ass lungs, so, like, I'm cooling, you know, I'm cool. But they don't know that. So they're gonna let go and be like, oh my god. Wait, they're gonna be like, oh my god, what did I do? Meanwhile, I'm be like, right? And then they're like, okay, they didn't want to see me do it. And when they look the other way, you know? I ain't saying I'm gonna kill him, but, like, you know? I'm gonna have to just scare them. You know what I mean? I feel like I would choke them out enough for them to get feared. Like, to get afraid.
Across town to another park called the Citizens Park that was very heavily forested. And once he parked in the parking lot, he looked around to make sure no one was watching, and then he dragged Ashley's body out of the car and deep into the woods where he abandoned her. It would turn out Ashley was far from the only teenage girl who found Sam Shelton attractive. Many teenage girls in the area thought he was the perfect catch. He was smart, he was handsome, and he had these beautiful, striking blue eyes that you couldn't help but just stare at. However, there was something unique about Sam that made him fundamentally different than all the other guys at their schools. Sam was not a student. He was a 27-year-old middle school teacher in Millstate.
You want to tell me that this This is the guy that they're frothing over. This man. Now, I want you all to take a very good look at his mitt. I want you all to take a very good look at him. Before he said what he was, I honestly thought he was a student. I didn't think he was a high school student. I thought he was an 8th grader. He has almost no chin at all. He kind of looks like an elf, I'm not going to lie. His cut is all types of fucked up. It's not even on the sides.
And he also was the high school baseball coach. He had never been Ashley's teacher directly. However, years earlier, when she was in middle school, he had begun grooming her for exploitation. And so fast forward to 2006, when she was 17, he had effectively manipulated her into believing she was in this romantic relationship with him, when in reality, he was just using his position of power to abuse her. In addition to being a school teacher, Sam was also an aspiring pro wrestler. He would often compete in local showcases under the nickname The Teacher. While Sam was probably nowhere near good enough to actually become a professional wrestler like you would see on TV, he was extremely strong and really knew how to do a chokehold. And so when he attacked Ashley and put her in that vicious chokehold, she had no chance at escaping. She was completely doomed. Shortly after his confession, Sam would tell the police that he would take them out into the forest of Citizens Park to try to find Ashley's body. But when they got there, it was late, it had been raining for several hours, and Sam right away acted like he couldn't figure out exactly where he had left her. And so the police were actually starting to think, is he lying to us? Is this whole thing just kind of made up? Did he really attack her? Is she really out here? But after about 30 minutes of the...
Why would he lie about that, bro? Okay. The thing I'm kind of iffy about is that if he was lying about this, bro, what would he gain? Because it's not like, if I just say like, oh yeah, I never seen her, or like, yeah, we did have a relationship, but like, I seen her and then like I left, and she said she was gonna leave right after me. Then at least you're like, okay, you kind of push the blame off yourself a little bit, and like if like the whole goal is like you guys are gonna run away together or something or some weird shit, at least then it's like you're not in the hot water as well, right? But you just admitted to killing a person. If he was lying, he just admitted to killing someone in the most brutal way possible by looking them in their face. Stop choking them. Take off your belt. Choke them again. Stop. Reposition the belt. And pull on it until your belt breaks. Who would even lie about that? Who would even make that up? Who would come up with that as an alibi?
Police and Sam kind of trudging around the thick forest, one of the officers suddenly sees something on the ground. He raises his flashlight, and there in a clearing is Ashley's body. And so the police and Sam, they walk over to her, and they're standing above her ruined body. Her neck is totally bent at a grotesque angle. She's covered in bugs. But as they're standing there and they're watching her, her chest suddenly starts to move. She wasn't dead.
We found who can be Goku. We found the one person that can be Goku.
She had been left for dead, and she'd been out in the woods with a broken neck for 30 hours in the freezing cold and the rain. She only had a t-shirt and some pants on, but she was alive. And so moments later, the paramedics, they come rushing into the forest. They pick her up really gently. They bring her out and they rush her to the hospital where she'd be put into a medically induced coma. The doctors would tell her family that unfortunately her injuries were just too serious and we don't expect her to ever wake up again. But miraculously, she would. Now,
see, this is why I know about Mr. Ballen. I'm sorry for pausing, but like he's how this girl's about to live a nightmare, right? Now that should have already told me that she wasn't gonna die. You know what I mean? Because a nightmare you wake up from. You know what I mean? I feel like you would have told you like, oh, the worst way to go, or like the sickest way to go, or something like that.
She would have to relearn how to walk and talk and eat and drink. But she would do all of those things, and today she is 32 years old, she is happily married, she has 2 kids of her own, and by and large, she leads a very happy, normal life. As for
Wait. This is her?
She has 2 kids of her own, and by
I
and
wasn't about to
large,
say
she
nothing.
leads a very happy,
just
normal
wondering.
life. As for Sam Shelton, he was
Jail.
sentenced to 20 years in prison for
Attempted
attempted
murder?
murder,
Yeah.
and he's still in prison today. However, he is up for parole in 2024. So that's going to do it. If you got something out of today's episode and you haven't done this already, please offer to detail the like button's car. But as soon as they give you the keys, just fill their car up with an angry pack of Asian murder hornets. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 1 or 2 video uploads. We now have a podcast where every Monday we put out...
Nah, man. That's crazy. That's... Yo, but W for surviving. Like, W for making, like, even though, like, she cheated, she shouldn't have gone through any of that. That's crazy. I wonder what they're arguing about. I'm surprised he didn't, like, explain what they argued about. But that's crazy she's alive. And the fact that she can walk again? That's... Maybe she did use my tactic. Maybe she did pretend like she already was, like, choked out. But yeah. I'm probably going to end the stream here.